YouTube, what's up? JP here. We got another video for you guys on installing a air fuel ratio, wideband gauge, and a boost gauge on the left driver's pod on the supercharged 2004 Toyota Tacoma. We kind of got a video started. We did a little bit on and off of when we were doing the 7th injector kit, so I'll have to kind of cut some of those videos in. But from here, we're going to work on doing the pods, and we'll show you how we're getting that done. Okay, so when installing a wideband sensor, a couple key things you want to note. It's going to be angle of your sensor. If you look at the factory wideband, it comes in at about a 45 from the top. That way no moisture that the exhaust creates contaminates it. You never want to put your sensor straight down because it'll just contaminate the tip. So what we need to do is we need to find a place on our pipe that we can get a rough 45 degree and not interfere with the stock sensor or flow past the stock sensor. So that's a very important element to this successful wideband. We don't want to throw off the stock computer, so we don't want to block the sensor. So we're going to kind of fit this up in here and see what kind of room we have. See if we can get it far enough away. I'm thinking, I want to make sure I'm not in the way of our bolts. I think right there might be a good spot. All right. Yeah, we got clearance. It's not going to hit the cab. It's not directly in front of our factory oxygen sensor. So that'll be the bung we're going to weld in. That gives us plenty of room there. So I'm going to make a little bit of a mark right in here so I can see where I want. That way we know. Perfect. We got beautiful clearance. Not sure if you guys can see up there, but so now we're gonna mark that out with the marker. We're gonna pull this section of the exhaust off so we can drill, tap our bung, and weld our bung in there. Okay, so we got our, we used a punch to center our hole where it's gonna be. Now I need to know what size drill. I believe this should be 0.90. There's our bung. Let's get a little pilot started. Cutting oil. There we go. A little bit of cutting oil. Okay. Cutting oil up a little bit. There we go. See what size we're at. Okay. Help it out a little bit, you know? Okay. And you have it. If you guys are unsure, this is kind of looks like stainless because it's got this rainbow effect from the heat, but stainless is non-magnetic. Real stainless is non-magnetic, so this is magnetic, so we know it's going to be a steel, a mild steel of some kind. So okay, deburr these edges. There we go. This thing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get the welder set up. We want to make sure you have a good clean surface, and then also get it as straight up and down as possible. Clean this with a wire brush, and then we're gonna after we do that, we're gonna go ahead and use some acetone. Just clean off our WD-40 we had earlier on there, and our drilling oil. Another key thing to note is you want to make sure it comes with a plug if you weren't going to use it, but you want to use the plug while you're welding so it doesn't warp any of the threads. So, a million times. But we're going to focus our heat on the bung itself because it's thicker than the pipe. Try to get you guys back here to see a little bit. We're going to TIG weld this. You guys could use a MIG welder, doesn't matter, since it's just mild steel. No. Okay. Alright. Set that on there. Out of the way. We're going to use a number 6 cup today. Just because we're going to be in there kind of tight. We're going to see where we're at on our flow. Adjust our flow rating. Way too high. Going to come down to about 15. We're going to get a couple tacks in here first. Don't move on us. Just do a fusion. Cold outside, my mask is fucked. Okay. Another tack there. Top side. Oh. All right, so I did my tungsten a few times, but I had to go through there and clean it out and clean the tungsten, but just kind of wasn't in a comfortable position. But there you go. We don't see any air gaps in it. Okay, if you guys don't feel comfortable with welding, you can always buy one of these clamps. I don't know if it came with the kit or not, but there's a clamp with a bung already in it. You just drill the hole, and then there's a piece of like sealant that goes inside, and then as you clamp it, it seals it off. It's a good way of doing it if like I said, if you're not comfortable with doing a weld. I checked my welds with turned on all the lights, put a flashlight inside the tube, looked for any light coming through. Don't see any light coming through, so our weld is good, sealed, solid. And we're gonna test fit this thing now. Another key reason why we put this on there, so we know the threads didn't get damaged on the heating and stuff. Plus it acts as a heat sink. So you see here, actually, nice. Kind of a good coloration all the way around, so we know we got good even heat. Again, it's been about a month or two since I TIG welded, so dipped my tungsten a few times on some of the hard angles because I didn't really have a good comfortable position to start out in, but that's okay. You know, happens. You just got to clean it out. Hit it with a wire brush. Grind it out if you have to, if you get too much in there. Mine, I could just kind of burn out and go from there. So we're going to test fit this. I ran down to the parts store and had to go leave my gaskets there, and they ordered a bunch for me so I could try to match them up because they weren't showing the right sizes, except for ones that maybe are out of town and coming in later today. But all right, we're gonna see how our clearance is. I'm gonna kind of just dummy fit it in here for now. If I can get it up on these bolts. 1, 2, and this third one right here makes 3. Come on, there we go. Come on, there we are. Right there. Grab my bolts. All right, close enough just to kind of get a good view. Hopefully it doesn't fall out so I can show you guys. But everything's just in there hand tight for now. Cat's just rested in there, but let's get our sensor wire out of the way. Okay, that looks beautiful, and that'll run right up in there, right behind everything. Just tuck that out of the way for now. All right, we're gonna get you guys up in there so you can see. Boom. Clearance all around. It's off-centered a bit, so it shouldn't be shouldn't interfere with this sensor at all on the flow. So the flow should still go right down here because this sits about a good 1/2 inch to 1 inch downwards in the pipe. Plus these are 2.5 inches apart, so that should fill that right back up. So, and then our stock sensor will go back in here. But yeah, as you can see, we got plenty of clearance. We can get to all 3 bolts. That was my biggest concern. I didn't want to have to pull the oxygen sensor out every time I wanted to get to the bolts. So yeah, that's how you install a wide band oxygen bung. Real key element. This car is pretty easy, but we had the room and everything. But on some vehicles, if it's dual exhaust, true dual exhaust, you know, getting a exhaust air fuel mixture reading on one side isn't really truly giving you an air fuel reading, because you could have a dead cylinder on one cylinder bank but have the wideband on the opposite and never see that. So luckily on this truck, it's got a crossover pipe that collects right in front of the new sensor and then comes down. So both banks are going to come right above the collector. They come together and then pass through the cat. So perfect setup for this one. We'll get a true accurate reading. All right. What I end up doing is getting the wideband through first because it's the thickest, and then I taped the injector harness and the vacuum line to the already pre-pulled air fuel cable, and then started getting it tucked in there. So now we gotta go to the inside, hopefully find it on the inside and pull it through with the rest of the stuff. So I know it's way in the back, so I think if I reach behind everything, I think I should be able to grab it. Yep, sure enough, here is our cable for the wideband. Now we're gonna keep pulling until we get our vacuum line. Go to the other side. Okay. Okay. Keep on keeping on. Try to move all that over. Here comes the vacuum line. And the injector line. I'll try to feed all this through at once. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Here we are. We got injector line, vacuum line, wideband. All right, since our unit has a 7th injector, on the last video we brought you guys, we installed the 7th injector controller here on the passenger side floor kick panel. It has a boost line that we already routed, so I'm just teeing in for the boost line to the boost sensor. So this will go to the new gauge pod. So I'm going to tee this in. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave this here and run the wires or run the vacuum over there and then tie it all in on that side. But so we're going to start with removing our pillar. There, you're going to remove these 2 pop outs here and the 2 bolts behind it, and then we can pull this pillar out. Got to be careful of his microphone he has here for his Bluetooth stereo. All right, 10 millimeters. Okay. And pull your liner down. You can pop this out. That slides in there like that. All right, one pillar off. Now what we're gonna end up probably doing is using some of this fuses down here. So we're gonna pop this fuse panel off and start getting our wires routed. Gray to match. It's a little thin. It's got a small crack already in it, but this is gonna go in there. Down in there. So looks like that'll fit. Just want to pre-fit everything before we get started. All right. Here's how these gauges look. Not too bad. So, because we're gonna be sliding this in, we want to make sure we get these things facing the way we want them. So, wideband's going on top. All right, about there. And boost is going on bottom. Make sure our words, wideband and boost, are articulated basically at the same angle. If you're sitting here, there we go. A little more on that one. Okay. I'll take this back off. Go out and get the bracketry set up. So the brackets to lock them in place. If they're needed, let's see. Just depends. Sometimes you can't get the brackets in because of the shape of everything. I'm gonna swap these out for some studs. Or swap these over to some studs. Okay. One is on. This one is way back there. Okay. Okay, there you go. They're both in there. Slow and steady wins the race. Okay. Next, we're going to have, we need a test light to find power, ground, and then we'll need to run all the cables. Okay. We got the wideband module. Got the cables for the boost controller. Again, I showed you earlier in the video, the boost switch is over there currently sitting. So what we need to do is we need to find out what goes to what on our controller. This should be our power to the gauge. So we're going to find all of our powers and grounds that we need. Assuming this is probably the exact same cable for yeah, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. So yeah, for the wideband. Let's get the wideband's instructions out. Compare notes. Installation instructions. Fuel gauge, blah blah. Here we go. Yellow is constant power. Yellow constant. Black ground. Orange headlight switch, and red ignition switch to power. Yep, so both of these harnesses are the same for their power sources, so that means we can splice them in to one another. Not sure how much room this truly has in there to get things through, but try it this way. Oh, if I can find it, that would be nice. Okay, there we go. Okay, okay, we can just come that way. Awesome. That's what we'll do. Got one here. Don't have to drill it all. I like that. Okay, now orange is for constant battery voltage, so if we gotta find a constant battery, let's find a good ground. Hopefully we want a constant 12 volts in here. Let's make sure the key's not in it. Key is out. Okay, so let's see if we have any constants. Yep, we got a constant there and a constant there. So we can take power from that constant. This is going to be our hot all the time. I think. Let's see. It's on the outer side of this. Should be hot all the time. Yep, hot all the time. Okay, so we're good there. And then we need switched headlight power. See if we can just tap into the headlight fuse as well. Oh, turn that off. Okay. I thought it went off. There you go, off. So we can do a 7.5. Right there is our ignition fuse. We can borrow that one. Okay, so none of these are, unfortunately, none of them are power with lights. So what we're gonna do, we know we can use 2 of them. So we'll use the 2 we can and then verify if we have power with key on. Oh. Yep, okay. Power with key on. Good there. This one. Make sure it's only got power with, come around with me. Oh, dropping you guys. Let's try that again. Okay. Connect to our ground. Tail lamp is going to be this one here. No power. No power. Let's see if we got power with the switch on, which we should. Parking lamps. Okay. Just the parking lamps. Boom. Perfect. That's up there. He's already got a hole under this side of the dash, so it shouldn't be too hard. We'll just wire in our own wire. Okay, that one, put that one in here. Okay, come out this side. Okay. So we trimmed out the side of the cover here just so the wire can go through without getting pinched. And he, like I said, he already had a spot with a bunch of wires going through, so I was able to get the wire through fairly easy. So now we have our switched headlights, our switched ignition, our constant. Now we need our vehicle ground, which ground spot, but we should be any one of these metal bolts here inside that connect to metal. Wedge it right in between the two, and then we'll be able to start connecting all our wires. So let's go ahead and get that done. Okay, so way we're going to test for a known good ground, it's pretty simple. We'll just connect to that bolt, and if this hot all the time lights up, so that one's not a good ground. So let's find a different ground. All right, let's kind of sneak our head in here and see what we got going on. Oh, we got a good ground right here. I know that because a ground wire is already going there. No power. Power all the time. Okay. Switch. Switch to on. Both should have power. 1, 2. There you go. Okay. So we know where we're going to put our ground wire. All right. We now have a known good ground. All right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to run both this and this yellow wire, which we don't need this much, so we can trim it back quite a bit. Let's cut it about here. And get it ran through. Okay. Yellow. And we're going to run our black through the same port. Okay. Black and yellow and okay, there we are. Nice. Okay. Okay. So let's go red to ignition switched. Our ignition switched is going to be hot all the time. It's going to be this one here. So red is going to go to that one. Orange is to headlights. Orange goes back around to this one. Okay. Yellow goes to yellow, 12 volt constant. Yellow, this is our 12 volt constant here. So we're going to go like that. And black is our ground, our known good ground. Let's get this one set up and ready. All right, that, my friends, is how we wire the gauges. Okay, so this is the harness that goes up to the air fuel gauge. Now we got to run our air fuel box, and then we need to run our boost solenoid switch, and then we got to figure out where we're going to put these, how we're going to route them. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm actually going to have to clip this one off. Not even realizing that the box to the air fuel mixture runs its own cord from the box up to the gauge, not the power to the gauge. So it runs it from right here, it says gauge. So I got that one ran right here, right here, down through everything out the bottom. So we got the gauge wire, and we got the boost control, the boost gauge sensor wire ran through as well. So we're gonna snip this, then we're gonna tie this back in here where we tied everything into. We'll just cut those clips, re-clamp them, and then we'll have our power plug will be down here, and then we can run this box over to that sensor wire. All right, there we go. Got that pigtail moved down to the lower harness instead of the upper harness. Drop you guys. So now we can put that box down here so we can get to that sensor wire, everything else we need. So, all right. So the bolts that came with this were that long. I had to use almost 3-inch bolts to get it through here, just to reach the metal to hold it on. We kind of had to notch this a little bit too. And all the kick panel is back together. We're tied into the boost. The boost switch is zip tied up here. Here's the wire, goes up to the gauge. This thing has like 30 feet of freaking wire. So we tucked up the wire the best we can, zip tied it all together nice and out of the way. So yeah. All right, you guys, I'm going to throw this catalytic converter back in, plug the new wideband sensor into the plug under the hood, and we're going to call this job done. Thanks for watching.